Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monza. We are here at the land of the Tifosi, supporters of the Scuderia Ferrari team, of course, for this Italian Grand Prix here in WOR. The top tier of Xbox are going to be thrashing it around the Monza circuit, rounding the likes of Ascari, through the Parabolica, through the chicanes of Rettifilio, Roger, and the Lesmo, of course. But I'm not alone. I am joined by none other less, it's the Humperdinck. Welcome.
Hello everyone. Very excited to be here. Not done this tier for about a year now, but yeah, very excited to be here, especially around this track where I think we'll have a lot of racing tonight.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. We've got so many phenomenal drivers here, folks. And obviously, the championship battle is still very much underway, though Antoine currently holding a convincing lead at the top end. Loving life, I have to say. 3 wins already accomplished this season, including a very, very decent points finish of 4th at what was last week's race at Belgium. I got to say, no better place to do it than that, I have to say. Viper still in hot pursuit in 2nd place after picking up 4 points last week and still holding his own there. But Keaton Lutt, rampant at this moment in time, scoring some serious points, getting himself up there. But it was Ron Ha who took victory last time out, who doesn't unfortunately show today. I know he's in the live chat, but amazing to have everybody here on board. The championship tussle is still very much underway, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens, folks. Obviously, we want to hear your tips as to who you think is going to be taking P1 glory today. We've got a very competitive grid, I have to say, Luke. A lot of drivers to pick from, all of them exceptional talents. Who are your eyes on today?
I think it's hard not to take your eyes off the likes of Antoine and Keelan Lutt. I think they're going to be the ones towards the front. I'd keep an eye on the likes of Jonas as well. He normally goes very well around here, actually won in Season 8 round here from Antoine when they were teammates back on the end of the 2019 game. So I'd keep an eye on Jonas tonight, especially as a possible dark horse.
Absolutely. Well, we got plenty of great drivers out here, and I mean, Keaton Lutz certainly looks to be in some fine fettle, and he's here again today, of course, representing the Haas team. He's got Sparks alongside him as well, but not to mention, going back to Jonas, Red Bull, of course, very much in the title battle. As you can see, top of the championship at this moment in time, looking pretty good. Let's have a look at some of these comments as well, because this chat is already lighting up with some of your comments. Alex Dagu saying, WOR, why is a darts player doing comms with George? I don't know, but one thing you guys don't know about me is I'm also a darts player. Oh yes, me and Luke are in good company for each other, I can assure you. We'll be talking 180s and 9 darters all night, folks, don't you worry about that. But I've got to say, folks, it's all about Monza tonight. Just having a look, Chili, the moderator, coming out. Will Antoine speed into the pits once again? Could be a huge decisive factor, I have to say, albeit he did pick up some very, very decent points last time out. I've got to say, very rarely does he not score points. The only one occasion that has happened was at Silverstone. He did not have the best race at all that day, but he's looking to come back. He is yet to take victory since that race, obviously, but he's coming back here today at Monza. Can Antoine do it this time? Of course, Desaluski showing some superior form on the PC platform as well as Xbox at the moment and still tops the championship, so keep an eye on Antoine Desaluski. Of course, looking further down the grid, we touched on Keaton Lutt, but also Ronha, of course. Shame he's not here tonight, Luke, because he looks like he's starting to really find his feet now after last week's victory.
Yeah, he's probably the one to beat on Xbox at the moment. His qualifying laps across the 3 respective leagues that he does have been absolutely astounding, absolutely astonishing. They've been very dominant. And obviously his lap at Spa last week at 40.0 is absolutely incredible. So he will be a miss tonight. But yeah, I think it's one of those races that Antoine needs to take advantage of if he is going to secure his maiden WR title.
Absolutely. He's looking in good shape for it, I have to say. Plenty of drivers, though, looking to have a go today. We've got a couple of new names as well to make sure you keep your eyes open. One of the more consistent performers, though, and we haven't touched on him yet, Viper. Viper, who was up at the top end, or still is, in fact, and has been for quite some time in P2. Obviously, part of the AlphaTauri team, and still quite a ways off, 39 points away from that man Antoine at the top, but has been one of the more consistent performers, has not finished outside the points at all this season, so you can bank your each way money on that man, that he's going to finish in the top 10, that's for for sure. Certainly heading around a track like Monza, high-octane pace, it matters. It certainly is worth a lot to have a very consistent, careful, steady, not to mention quick driver behind the wheel of a car. And today may well pay into the hands of Viper. Last time out, not scoring the abundance of points you'd expect him to score. He generally is up in the top 5 fighting for podium finishes. He has scored one solitary podium this season, of course. That was the second race of the season at Bahrain. But I tell you what, don't count your chickens, folks. This could be the night where the Viper strikes. So do keep your eyes peeled on that one. We're just about to head into qualifying. Right, let's talk about Monza then, Luke, because of course, very, very technical circuit as well as quick. Those chicanes, they can be deadly.
Yes, they can. The very, very high curbs of turn 1, turn 2, and then turn 4 as well. They can be very, very tricky. If you get it wrong, then you're losing abundance of time, or if you even cut the corner, get yourself a track limit warning. So yes, they are very, very tricky. You've got to find that balance between enough speed down the straights, but enough to be able to take enough speed through the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Control pace, that's what it's all about. Obviously, heading in, you've got two very different kinds of chicanes, I'd say. Well, 3, in fact, if you include Ascari. You've got to include Ascari. But heading into the first one at Rettifilio, it's more of a bit of a standing halt when you head into that 90-degree into turn 1. And then, of course, you've got to try and turn back on yourself. You find yourself down into first gear a lot and then quick shifting up to second. Some people like to take it in third. I think they try and get... find a little bit more rotation, utilizing the second gear and then jumping up to 3. I know a lot of people tend to do that to avoid any oversteer. And then, of course, you head up to turn 4, where you've got the Rogier chicane. That's slightly quicker. And if you get your angle right, you can carry the speed right through the chicane. And then, of course, heading into Ascari, a little bit more progressive. You can hang on to the throttle and push your car through as well. And is that a case of what these guys need to do, sort of find the best access routes into those chicanes, Luke?
Yeah, Ascari's going to be, especially in the race, it's going to be more of a survival who could take the most amount of curb through especially the last part of Ascari. And I think that's where you may see some of the pad players, such as Viper and Perondi tonight. They may not be able to take the speed through that part of the circuit because of the curb in there. So I think that could be a crucial factor tonight of who can take as many risks through there without either getting a warning or indeed crashing, especially at the end of Ascari.
Absolutely. Every chance we could see some real incidents there. And there's a tactic that I usually see in PC driving, obviously with a lot of the professionals that tend to come out on track. Keaton Lutt coming out on intermediate tyres. And generally, this tactic is utilised or ployed to save an extra set of slicks before you head into, obviously, the race session. So naturally, Keaton Lutt now just looking to set a banker or maybe even just get himself attuned to the track without wasting a compounded tyre. And then he can come out on the faster tyre towards the latter stage of the session. So that is the reason why he has gone out on those. And Keaton Lutt, a very, very consolidated performer. Very, very good indeed. Already a race winner twice this season. Of course, picked up positive results within the last 3 races. He, of course, ticked all the boxes when it came to Britain. And, of course, the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard as well. 2 very outstanding performances as well. And we'll look forward to seeing how Keaton Lutt can do. Of course, his fellow CRG man, Antoine, is another man who's been up in the victories. You'd firmly expect Keaton Lutt and Antoine to really go at it certainly at this circuit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between those two. Obviously, quality is very important, as Gracito has made a mistake into the first chicane, and that's him aborted his lap as Perondi goes past him. But yeah, if it's them two on the occupy the first row of the grid, then I think it's going to be very difficult for those behind to stop them.
It certainly will be. I think you're absolutely right. We're just watching now this Red Bull cascade through the Rogier chicane. This, of course, being Antoine Desilewski. And this man is certainly no one to be trifled with. He is absolutely exceptional, carries a lot of speed here at the circuits. Been out of the wind slightly, a little bit of a mistake there coming out of the latter Lesmo. Now making his way down the stretch now. This is the Serigilio. Down towards Ascari now. You want to brake just after the 100, and as he does so, coasts his way through, and very easy to invalidate around this sector of the track. Oh my word, Crescito, another mistake. Very nearly collecting Antoine there. Coming out of the chicane, it got very touch and go. Very close indeed there for the Racing Point. He's actually blocking the track, and he's out of the session as well. So not a great start for Racing Point. Crescito out of qualifying. He'll be starting from the back of the grid should everyone set lap times, as Antoine goes to the top with a 1:17.9.
Yeah, what did I say about those curbs? Yeah, Crescito just got too much on that curve at Ascari, and yeah, Anton was very, very fortunate there not to be collected by his French colleague there, and yeah, I think he was a bit held up, especially through the turn 5 and 6 there, and I think there's a lot more time in that from Antoine, and his teammate obviously just 2 milliseconds behind him. And a good lap from Luca as well early on to put himself into P3.
Certainly is. Excellent. And not very far from Antoine's time. Bear in mind, though, Antoine did make a mistake out of the second Lesmo. Lost the car at the front end. Went a little bit right. And obviously, it wouldn't have helped his lap time. So no doubt he will find loads more time on the circuit here today. So do not take these lap times as gospel for this moment, folks, as now Viper crosses the line. Mr. Consistent on the medium tyres with a 1:19.556 just to get the ball rolling for AlphaTauri. His teammate Bobbett's about to come across the line as well, very shortly to start his flying lap now on the soft tyres, coming into Reto Filio, and well, you'll very shortly be cruising around the Curva Grande. And certainly the AlphaTauri team are no strangers to victories here at Monza. Pierre Gasly with a Cinderella story last season. And I, for one, watched that race, and I was absolutely blown away by the results. You know, it was certainly something that has been missing from Formula 1. Cinderella stories, as now we see Bobbett's coming out, looking all shapes and sizes out of Rogier. Not ideal at all. Just hugging the gravel slightly. He's finding his car, losing traction, not finding the grip on the circuit here right now, finding himself coasting off onto the natural surfaces of this circuit now, making his way down the stretch of Serigilio. He looks okay though at the moment. He's still going for it here. He's coming now into, in fact, I think he's let off the ERS. He's going to go again, I think, on his next lap. But crucially at the top end, it's a Red Bull lockout. Yeah, it's been as I said at the start, those two are, along with Keelan Lott, are the two to watch in my opinion. Alfie's done a very good time in P3. He was promoted from Tier 2, and you can see his pace straight away is right at the sharp end, but yet to see the likes of Keelan Lott to set representative lap times. And I'm just trying to look, see if anyone's on a lap. Flying Rossi darts into the pit lane, of course, fresh from his first podium in WR Tier 1 last time out at Spa. A very good race from him. Obviously helped slightly by the safety car, but his pace on those soft tyres towards the end was very, very strong, and he deserved his podium finish. And VRT Danny, he's on an in-lap. So I think the next person to set lap time, I think, will be Antoine, who's just come out the pit lane, George. Yeah, Antoine is going to be on his way out, so he'll be no doubt looking to set a faster time. We've got Shazoo Dominic out on track as well, making his way down the stretch. Obviously, this is not going to be a representative lap from this man, I don't think, as he makes his way around the Parabolica. There's a Ferrari in the background, just warming up the tyres as well. That's Bartek Fras, who we have not seen this season. And you mentioned there was a new driver here today, Luke. I take it that's your man.
Yes, he joined WR this week and showed some very, very strong times at China and Spain to get himself into Tier 1. So we'll see what he can do in the Scuderia's home race.
Yeah, what timing for this man to come in. No pressure at all for Bartek Fras, who is currently in the Scuderia Ferrari. Of course, blazing red here at Monza. The fans love it. And certainly the Italian audience waiting to see their hometown boys try and succeed here on track. Can Bartek Fras hold all the magic to bring it all together? I tell you what, talk about baptism of fire. Going against the likes of Antoine, of course, topping the championship. A little mistake, though, I think, heading out of the chicane at Rogier. Now heading around the first Lesmo. And very shortly be heading around the second Lesmo as well. And just actually, funny enough, looking in the chat there, Chile, Bartek was a Challengers driver, if I remember correctly. So he is no stranger to competitive racing, certainly here on the F1 game. So I'll be looking on with great interest at this man as he now makes his way through Ascari. And doing so looks okay. Just trying to power through. It's always a nervous time when you join a league or get raised into a top tier for the first time. Joining a season that's already been, certainly got underway. A lot of pressure to try and succeed against drivers that have already succeeded this season, but he's going to do his best anyway. Bartek Fras now about to come across the line, hugging the inside line as they like to always do. Across the line, P13. I would not think a representative lap time at this point. He will go quicker with 9.5 minutes to go, but a 1:18.4 is where the Scuderia Ferrari lies.
Yeah, and Antoine has invalidated his lap time, and Jonas was up through the first sector, so he's the one to watch at the moment at the two Red Bulls. As we get into the sector 2 splits, it's a purple middle sector for Jonas, 2.5 tenths up on his lap time as he nails a Ascari there. Absolutely beautiful there from the Red Bull driver, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is pole position for the German. Looking at the final corner there, turning just at the 50-metre board there. It's a very good last corner from Jonas. And he up to the line now. It's a 17.6 and it's pole by over 0.2 of a second. And that's quite a big margin around here as Luca also improves in the Mercedes to go up into the top 3, George.
Yeah, great sign from Luca as Keaton Lutz with a magician of a time there. Goes a 10th quicker than Jonas. Coming across the line for the Haas and once again solidifying his top billing once again this season. Remember, he was a winner, as I said before, at the French GP as well as Britain. And he comes here to Italy and lights things up once again here with just over 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Keaton Lutz, absolutely magnificent. A 1:17.594. A 10th quicker than Jonas, who went purple in the earlier lap. And unfortunately, he doesn't go purple this time because Keaton Lutz puts the spike in the balloon. That is his P1 chance. We've still got Antoine now about to come back out for an outlap, but spectacular time from Keaton Lutz at this stage.
Yeah, and Flying Rossi has crashed out of the last corner at Parabolica. He was 0.2 up on his time, and that's unfortunate there. That would have elevated him just inside the top 10. So that's unfortunate for the McLaren driver. Shazoo Dominic's on a lap at the minute. He's currently sat in P9 and he's just turned his ERS off, and I'd imagine he'll come into the pit lane and put on a fresh set of boots and go again. Just trying to see who's on laps throughout the field. Viper is on a lap. He's just started his. He's going through the Curva Grande now. Let's see what that first sector time split is. He's 0.2 up. It's a 25.8. That's a reasonable sector 1. You want to be realistically looking for 0.6s, 0.7s through that first sector. And now Viper coming through Lesmo 2. Gets the car turning nicely. Probably could have carried a slight bit more speed now. DRS active down towards the Ascari chicane. Let's have a look at that sector split when it appears now. It's a 51.8. 7/10 up on his time, but a 7/10 improvement wouldn't really be beneficial for him, and you can see the Ascari chicane there for drivers on the pad. Viper nearly lost it, and in that case he's invalidated his lap, and yeah, I'm sure we'll see him into the pit lane at the end of this lap, George.
Yeah, and that puts him in a really precarious position. His teammate Bobbitt's just landed a 1:18.3. He moved himself up to P12, and he hits the barge boards there, the speed-in boards with frustration. Viper bailing into the pit lane, still yet to field a representative number. He hits a 1:19.5. Of course, that puts him at the tail end of the field, along with Crescito, who crashed out earlier on. He will definitely be starting from the back of the grid. Antoine Dezalewski now out on track as well, looking to pip Keaton Lutz. Now, this is the battle we've been waiting for. Obviously, the likes of Keaton Lutz and Antoine, we haven't quite seen them tie up together that much this season. It has been very minuscule, but we are here now at Monza, and could it be at the Temple of Speed that we see the two Comrade Gaming drivers collide here today? Certainly Keaton Lutz winning a couple of races this season, so is Antoine. He's won 3, so every chance we'll see some of the best in the business here tying up here tonight on WOR, here on this Xbox Tier 1. It's going to be absolutely brilliant, and no better legendary circuit than Monza to be the pitch they play on, as they now come down the straight now, leading towards what will be the Parabolica. Now it's all on Antoine to try and lay down a hammer here upon Keaton Lutz. Can he do the job here for Red Bull as they come down the stretch now, hugging the inside line? Antoine, does he go P1? He certainly does, over 1/10 of a second quicker, 1.2 to be exact. CRG Antoine Dezalewski taste P1 glory here with 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely incredible lap there from Antoine. And I tell you what, he's definitely got a bit more time through there. I'd imagine his Ascari wasn't optimal for a driver of his quality. He went too wide in that first part, which meant he didn't quite carry the speed there. So I think there's more time in there from Antoine. And I think Jonas is just about to start a lap, George. So I think his teammates are looking to respond instantly as he gets it hooked nicely on the inside curve there of turn 1. And it's a reasonable exit. So, George, I think Jonas is the one to watch right now.
I agree with you. Maybe a potential tow as well from Antoine after he's completed his lap, maybe going down the straight after the Ascari. You never know. We'll have to wait and see. Here comes Jonas, a little bit sideways, heading in through the Rogier as they now come round the Lesmo 1. And got to say, hugging that inside line. Very nice line indeed there from Jonas. He makes his way through Lesmo 2, and he'll have the straight once again here. This, of course, is Serigilio, and this is on the lead up to Ascari as they do so now in Sector 2. 50 seconds currently landed on the board here for Jonas as he now comes in, breaks Sector 2 at 51 seconds, comes through into Ascari now, breaks out now onto the next straight leading up towards the Parabolica. Can Red Bull go a 1-2 here at Monza before the strike of dawn here on qualifying? Here comes the Red Bull now, round the right-hander, cruising round that Parabolica on the outset, just brushes the curb there with the left-hand wheels, comes over the straight now, underneath the banner, cross the line, P2 he does go, just under half a tenth of a second. Amazing stuff indeed. Red Bull lockout at this moment in time with 3 minutes to go. CRG Antoine P1, Jonas in P2.
I said Jonas was quick round here, and that's a very respectable time. I don't think... Yeah, he's not going to get round again, so that is his qualifying done. P2 at best for the Red Bull driver, and obviously everyone else is looking to
Viper's
improve on
crashed.
their times.
That's a crash from Viper as well, and that's not a good place to be. He has crashed. I believe that's at the at the Rogier chicane. He's had a bit of a misstep, and he's come out, and he's lost traction at the car. He's hit the wall, and there is well, both end plates are missing off that front wing. It looks terribly, irreparably damaged. He's spinning on the circuit, not enjoying himself at all, and really having a rough time out there. He's certainly not finding the pace or the grip here at Monza. It certainly doesn't seem to be to his liking right now. There is several invalidations. He is going to go into this race, I think, at the back of the grid because he does not have enough time to field a proper lap time here.
Yeah, it's not one of his strongest circuits after speaking to him before the race, but if there's one man that can come through the field and get a decent result, it is Viper this season. Obviously, looking back, his race at Australia was very strong in the wet, coming from P19 all the way up to P4. And in the wet weather conditions, it's very hard to overtake, especially around Australia. So if there's anyone that can produce a comeback drive, it is Viper. And just looking through the field now, who's on lap times? Joker's just started his lap, as has Danny. So they're the two at the moment just to watch out for before the top guys start their lap times.
Absolutely. Well, VRT Danny is now out on a hot lap, and he's leading quite a few of them around. Sparks as well has commenced his. In fact, now Danny is actually slowed up, so he allows the Williams of Alfie past him, and as well as a few others, as well as Perondi, who's out on track as well. And Williams currently occupying P5 and 8, so a good performance from them so far. Currently P5 in the championship. Of course, Perondi, their standard usual driver. Alfie, though, sitting in today ahead of Sincrich, who would usually be in the Williams. Alfie taking the seat here today, and I've got to say, doing that seat proud right now. P5 on this visit to Monza. Absolutely exceptional there from that man, as we're now watching the Alfa Romeo come through. Sparks also out on a lap. He's now heading around Lesmo 2. Down the stretch, a bit untidy on the outside of that corner. Heading down the stretch now once again, down the Serigilio. He'll come into Ascari now. Wants to hold the pace, heading through this section of the track. As he does so, brushes a lot of the curb. Lovely entrance there. Might have been an invalidation heading through there. He did rub over the curb a bit, and it was. He's actually slowed up, pulled the car up. Not happy at all. And that Haas has certainly, I think that's going to be his day done. P9 is where Sparks remains, at least for now. Dominic coming up as well towards the line. So's Danny. They won't be setting any faster times. Flying Rossi out on track as well. We got Antoine out on a fast lap. I think, though, at this moment in time, he is not going to improve. Looking at this, he doesn't need to at this stage, as now Keaton Lutt now commences, I believe, his fast lap as well, right across the line at the correct moment as he now makes his way through the Varante Rettifilio. I think we'll stay on board now with Keaton Lutt, of course, because this could be the difference maker. Jonas is out of qualifying. P1 is up for grabs here, folks. Keaton Lutt is going hunting, and Bobbitt's has retired as well. That's the other AlphaTauri out of it as well. So AlphaTauri currently starting from Ps 12 and 16 at this moment in time. Keaton Lutt round the Lesmo 1 now. The Haas driver looking to try and topple Antoine de Zalewski, who's currently lying on top spot. Can Keaton do the business here for the Haas team, of course, who are currently occupying Ps 2 in the constructors standings? It's going to be all to play for here, certainly in the constructors. Plenty of racing left, folks. We got Japan, Austria, Abu Dhabi and Brazil, so Keaton Lutt knows he has to try and capitalise where it counts. Perondi goes ahead of Alfie into P6 as well. The Williams is in tandem on the same row of the grid, P6 and 7. Here comes Keaton Lutt now around the Parabolica. Can he take P1 this time off Antoine? It looks plausible. He comes round the corner, coming past the line now very shortly, hugging the inside line. Can he do it? No, Keaton Lutt can't. A 117.594 is all he could muster. Doesn't even pip Jonas. It's a Red Bull lockout, Luke.
Absolutely incredible, and fair play to the two Mercedes of Days Rhombus and Shizu Luca. Absolutely incredible lap times there to put them P4 and P5 on the grid. But yeah, an absolutely incredible lap time there from Antoine to put himself on pole position. I think Keaton validated his final run, which through the Ascara chicane, which was highly unfortunate for him, but I think he lost all the time in sector 1. It was a tenth and a half down on what he managed on his best time. So yeah, it was always, he got to send it, and unfortunately he exceeded track limits, George.
Yeah, unfortunately, heartbreak there for Keaton Lutt, but he will be starting from P3. And just look at this. Look at the top billing. Antoine, championship leader, P1. You got Jonas in P2, his teammate. Red Bull really going for it here today. Christian Horner would be very proud. Keaton Lutt, P3. Days Rhombus up in P4. Mercedes having a great day. Luca in P5 as well, joining his teammate, Perondi and Alfie together in the Williams team. So that's another Mercedes engine, currently occupying P6 and 7 as well. You got Clone Troop in P8 for Racing Point. Bartek Frass, newcomer in the Ferrari P9. Danny in P10. Dominic P11. Mulder P12. Bobbitt's P13. Joker 14th. Rossi 15th. Viper 16th. Chris Saito in P17. Sparks back of the grid, P18. I've got to say, folks, what a fascinating race we've got on top now. We've got some of the fastest guys in this league at the top end. It's a match race. So you can imagine, Luke, I'm predicting this now, that Red Bull are going to make this as uncomfortable as possible for Keaton Lutt now, aren't they? Because, of course, they got both drivers now at the top. Is it going to be a case that Antoine just scooches along, tries to solidify the first place, and Jonas will be almost like a barrier between him and P1?
I think Jonas will want to run his own race. I sense that he'll obviously want to beat his teammate and taste victory for the first time. I think since season 9 Italy. So I think he'll be wanting to beat his teammate, but I think he also understands obviously the fact that his close friend Antoine is in a title fight. So I can sense that I would agree with you that I think he may play the buffering role today, but I think the important factor is whether Keaton Lutt can get into the slipstream of Antoine and possibly make his way around the outside of Jonas at the start, and then that will put him in a very strong position for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think naturally, Red Bull are in with a great chance here today of scooping up some maximum points. And certainly with the likes of Antoine, who certainly seems right at home here at Monza. And I have to say, has yet to score a win in his last 3 races. So he's coming here today, 4th race since, obviously, that victory last time out at Azerbaijan. We are now coming back here today, and it's going to be very intriguing to see how they get on. I mean, naturally now Red Bull looking to actually scoop up some really rewarding points here today. This could solidify and almost consolidate that Constructors' Championship. Obviously, folks, we want to hear who you think are going to take victory here today. I can see that Chili's already done that. Looking at it, predictions who will win. Chili is saying Jonas for the victory. Now, that's intriguing. Obviously, my money would be on Antoine de Zalewski based on the pace that he's managed to garner around this circuit. Don't write off Keaton Lutt, though. We're looking at this. OMG, it's Joe. I back Crescito for the win. A very, very bold prediction there from Johannan. He's going to actually go for Antoine instead. So please leave your predictions for the winner of this race, folks. Leave your predictions for the top 3 races. Or top 3 placings. Who do you think's going to be on the podium at the end of this Italian Grand Prix? Luke, I'm going to ask you the bold question. What's your pick?
I think the top 3, I think they're going to stay as they are. I think I'm going to be a bit boring. I don't think we're going to see someone like Dominic or Mulder or even Viper be able to come through the field unless there's a safety car or a virtual safety car. Because the alternate strategy isn't as strong around here as it is at other circuits like USA. So yeah, I'm going to go with the top 3 as Roberts and Joker have been disqualified from the formation lap. So we'll see what their start's like compared to the likes of Rossi and Viper, George.
Yeah, well, certainly it's not going to help the tyre wear, or certainly the tyre temperature. Looking at that, Tom Clark in the chat, I'm going to say VRT Alfie to go P2, which is brilliant to see. Obviously, Alfie, very impressive in qualifying on his visit in the Williams team. And now they're all lining up here across the track, as you can see. And very soon we'll be underway. There's the view from Jonas with his teammate alongside him here as the lights are about to go red here, folks, at the Italian Grand Prix. We're now watching Sparks and Cressito line up on the grid as well. Just waiting for the rest of them here as we now get ready for the start of this race. It's going to be very intriguing, folks. Of course, Jonas now, who has the unfortunate job of having to wait for the start of this now as we get ready to go here, folks. The Italian Grand Prix, first light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. The 2 Red Bulls in tandem, pretty much. Jonas going for the jugular straight away behind Keenan Lutz. Could not get any momentum heading into turn 1. The Red Bulls have the front end totally capped off. Days Rhombus and Perondi with an exceptional battle through. Perondi in the Williams managing to move up to P4. Alfie doing the same, moving up into P6, overtaking Clone Troop, who's now up into P7. Luca with a tremendously bad start down into P8. Bartek Frass in P9. Dominic chasing in P10, as well as Bobbers, who's managed to cruise up into P11. Cressito and Viper battling for all their worth as they make their way through the Rogier chicane, heading through the Lesmo. What an incredible start here, Luke.
Yeah, and it looked relatively clean at the back as well, as Rossi's not had a great start either. He's down to P18, but Shazoo Dominic up to P10, Bobert's up to the P11. They're the 2 to be watching as VRT Danny is looking to go down the inside of Joker into the Ascari chicane. Can the Alfa Romeo get it done? He brakes later and gets the move done. Fantastic move there on his debut from Danny, and then how he'll look up to get to the back of Bobert's.
Certainly will. Joker licking his wounds after Danny just cruised through and snatched up that P12. Absolutely exceptional. We got movements as well near the back. A little nose from Sparks as they make their way through the Parabolica. Looking further up as well. Look at this. Bartek Frass under pressure now from Luca. In fact, Luca, I think, may have made a mistake. I think he's in the pits. And that's a box very early on. That can only mean one thing, and that's damage. Very interesting strategy here from Luca if it's not damage, but I'd certainly bank on that being damage to say the least, as they now round the first chicane at Retifilia, round the Curva Grande. No Grande moves here at this moment in time, although Cressito may be looking to put a spoke in the plan as he now chases Joker. Antoine now battling with Jonas as they make their way, heading through. In fact, no, they're not. That's a bit of an error on our graphic, folks. Do apologise as they now cruise through into the next chicane at Roger. Round in the first Lesmo, still Antoine leads. Red Bull still locking out the top 2.
I think Lucas picked because of damage and a collision with Alfie. Alfie's got damage here, and it's very critical for the likes of Bartek and Dominic to get past this Williams as soon as possible. Otherwise, they'll lose the DRS to the likes of Clone Troop, who made the move into Ascari on the previous lap. It was a fantastic move from Clone, but obviously the fact that Alfie's got damage, the likes of Bartek, they've got to get a move on to be able to stick with the train. He's got a yellow flag, and that is Cressito out of the race at Ascari. And that is a safety car, George.
It is a safety car here in lap 2, and Cressito was not enjoyed. Certainly a very steady start in this session. Certainly qualifying was very difficult for him. He bailed out of qualifying very early on with an incident heading out of Ascari, and certainly here this time he's this time out of the race with the cause of a safety car this time. So now very early on, lap 3 at this moment in time. and we are under yellow flag conditions with the safety car now making its way out onto the circuit, and already the response has been unanimous. Loads of drivers into the pits for hard tyres. I say loads, that's 5 cars that have bailed into the box. And Days Rhombus, Bartek Fras, Viati, Danny, Alfie, Flying Rozzy, all bailing into the pits, folks. So it's going to be very spicy from here. Certainly Antoine and Jonas haven't moved a muscle. Both Red Bulls still at the top end, being hunted down by Keaton Lutt, who is going to follow on. And as they make their way around the Lesmo now. And I have to say, interesting strategies now developing now. So what does this mean for those on the hard tyres, Luke?
I think they'll be able to just get to the end. I think I remember a league race where I think it was either ORL or PSGL. I think there was a safety car on lap 1, and a lot of the top drivers went into the pits very early on, and they only just managed to get their hard tyres to the end of the race. Now, with it being lap 3, I think there should be a bit more comfort there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the top guys into the pits on this lap. And this look like they're staying out. They did have the opportunity to jump into the pits there because they've not caught the safety car yet. But yeah, I think that the likes of Days Rhombus and Bartek, I think they're going to be important factors in this race now as Viper jumps into the pits. I'd imagine he's one of the ones that will be looking to try and get to the end and maybe make some inroads into Antoine if he can make those tyres last.
He certainly is. He's putting on the hard tyres. The pit crew spring to action and load up the AlphaTauri there with the white rim tyres, and obviously meeting the hard tyres. And naturally, Viper will benefit from that, I suppose, in the long run. Is very much an expert of staying within the points position, so do not write him off, folks. He will be up there fighting to try and get into the top 10. I'm sure that's his minimum goal at this stage, making his way around the first chicane at Rettifilio, now around Curva Grande. Very soon they'll be lining up in front of the safety car, well, behind the safety car, and they do so. Antoine leading the contingent around, and that familiar French-coloured helmet, of course, that has tasted glory 3 times already this season. He looked to add a 4th one to the list, and what a one and what a race it will be here at Monza, and leading the standings by a resounding 39 points. So whatever happens here today, he will still be on top. Of course, 25 points going to first place here today, but I'm sure nonetheless he would like to have those for himself as the Red Bull now winds its way, number 76, round through the Ascari, and close in behind the Mercedes safety car. In behind as well, you've got Jonas, just warming up his tyres. Keaton Lutt there in behind, just stalking these 2 Red Bulls like prey right now, and that is a view I'm sure he'll be looking to dispatch very, very soon.
Yeah, and on the first lap, Keaton managed to pick up 2 warnings there, just scanning through the race directors. So he's going to have to be very, very careful for the remainder of the race. Both Red Bulls not picking up a single warning in the opening few laps. But for those hard tyre runners, it's going to be very critical to hold on to the DRS of those medium runners, like it is for the medium runners now, because with this safety car coming out, it's less pain for those medium runners because they're managing to stick closer to the softer runners, which could mean that the likes of Dominic and Joker are going to be a big factor later on in the race as Sparks leaves the session. We'll try and get him back in. But yeah, Days Rhombus is one to watch out for here, and especially Viper as well down in P14.
Yeah, certainly. Keep an eye on those, and we'll have to see how that hard tyre strategy pays off. You may find quite a few of them making their way into the top 10 sooner rather than later, and it'll certainly be those that are consistent, and I'd imagine that safety car was music to the ears of Viper, who actually managed to gain quite a few positions off the get-go at the start of this race, and he has certainly benefited. AlphaTauri will certainly be delighted with that, and his teammate Bobbitts as well up into the top 10 on the mediums, of course, so he won't be boxed until later on. So both AlphaTauris on separate strategies, both of them could find their way into the points as long as they play their cards right anyway, as now we see them cruising down the Serigilio part of the circuit, very soon down towards Ascari. The safety car is in this lap, so the importance of a getaway now is going to be Antoine, who is going to carry the pace of this string of cars now as the safety car peels off and tails into the distance before it then bails into the pit lane, and we get the green flags out and get this race back underway. You can just see them, the string of cars now aggressively warming up those tyres now as they head down the stretch towards Parabolica. And in behind, just look at that. Perondi looks menacing as well. I have to say, Williams with a great start to this race in terms of his performance. Alfie has boxed onto the hards, hence why he's where he is right now. As they ran the Parabolica now, and bang they go. This time, Alfie's going to be them. Well, not Alfie, sorry, Antoine is going to be the man who's going to send them on their way, and he certainly does. Pedal to the metal for the second time in this race, and as they do so in behind, Perondi all over the back of Keaton Lutt, who did not get the best of getaways. It looked like the Williams might have had his number here as they come down towards the first chicane, and as they do so, still Antoine in front. In behind, Jonas holding his own. In P3, Keaton Lutt. In behind, Perondi spiking or looking all over the rear of that Haas car. In behind, Clone Troop also looking for a move, but not this time as they ram the Curva Grande. In behind as well, Mulder trying to move up here on Bobbits as well, joined by Sparks in the distance, who is now having a cruise up here on the outside, heading into what will be the Rogier. No, Mulder shuts the door, but Sparks had a nose. Very nearly got him as they head through Lesmo 1. Sparks on a flyer.
Yeah, he couldn't quite get that move done there. He looks to be lagging around a bit, so like Dave's Rommers, they need to be careful here and probably try and get to that move done quite early. But the two Red Bulls look to be in dominant form here. Keaton already 8 tenths behind and could lose the DRS quite early on in this stint here. Oh, as Jonas makes a massive mistake there, and that's going to allow Keaton Lutt back into within that slipstream range and possibly Antoine out of the DRS range of his teammate George.
Yeah, and look at Sparks as well, down the inside of Parabolica. Brilliant from Sparks. He let them fly and cruise past the Alfa Romeo. Did what he couldn't do, heading around the Rogier, but he's not on his own again. Mulder now all over him, looking to try and tag back here on the Haas as they come down the stretch, heading down towards Rettifilio once again. Wheel-to-wheel action here in Italy as they cruise down into turn 1. Still wheel-to-wheel, nose-to-tail, as now they make their way through an error from Sparks. A slip in the rear, and now the Alfa Romeo once again goes wheel-to-wheel, a tap of the wheels as Sparks rejoins. He loses position again, bails off onto the grass and has lost it. Sparks off the track, he's lost it. The car is gone, and now Mulder holds onto his position in P9. Dave's Rhombus moves up to P10. Everyone else moves up. Sparks has left the session. That is a DNF.
Yeah, I think that was. I think he made contact with Mulder into the first corner there. I think he just turned in slightly too early, and then obviously there was contact was going to be inevitable there between the Alfa Romeo and the Haas. But now this is critical for Mulder that he gets back within that DRS range of the fellow medium runner of SSR Bobbert, as that's going to impact the hard runners race as well. Make sure they're getting carried along. But Mulder used a lot of his ERS there compared to like some Dave's Rhombus when he was fighting the Sparks. And it's not an easy track here to regain in ERS, especially if you're out of that DRS train, as Sparks is back in the session. So yeah, he'll be looking to, well, he'll be hoping for a safety car to try and get himself back into the race, George.
Yeah, I must impress. It's not quite a DNF yet, folks. I know I said that looked like it was from my perspective because that Haas went spiraling off at that point, and I genuinely did think that that car had it. But no, he's okay. He rejoins the session. He's back in the car, and like you say, quite rightly, Luke, he will need a safety car. So we will wait and see how that pays out for him. Obviously, we're now waiting for the Deltas to line up here as they're now watching these cars trailblaze their way through the next chicane at Rogier. And certainly Red Bull still enjoying the front run at this moment in time. Certainly Antoine and Jonas with, I would say, equilateral distance between each car right now, including that of Keaton Lutz as they now round the second Lesmo. In behind Perondi, also watching every move, with in behind Clone Troop for Racing Point. Dominic as well, very much in the fray and on the medium tyres as well. So he'll do well to stay within the time delta of that man Clone Troop. And try and utilise the DRS to try and stay in the midst as Bobbets picks up a time penalty. And he's the second man to do so here in this race today as they wind their way down the stretch. Once again round Parabolica. And very soon down the stretch to commence their lap 9 of 27. And I have to say, what a race this has already been. We've had a safety car, plenty of action as well. Overtakes in the midfield. What more can you ask for here at the Italian Grand Prix? Certainly here at World Online Racing as they now make their way down towards turn 1 at the Rettifilio. Still leading the way, Antoine. In behind, a lock-up there from Keaton Lutt. Now that's going to be a little bit devastating on those tyres, but I'm sure he will recover as now Joker looks to try and surge up on Dominic. Gets a bit of a slow getaway, though, out of that chicane. Not ideal at all. He was trying to close on the Renault, but there was no no opportunity to do so as they now head down towards the next one. In behind Bobbitt, still trying to tag back here despite the penalty he received into the Rogier once again, and is trying to lay waste to the McLaren if he can get a little closer. But I have to say, equilateral gaps across this grid though, and look, from the get-go, as Alfie receives another time penalty, I tell you what, given the fact these deltas are so close, those penalties are going to be crucial at the end of the race.
Yeah, they are. And Mulder has got back within the DRS of SSR Bobbitt, and that means that only Dominic out of the top 16 are out of the DRS range of the car in front, the lead medium runners. That could be crucial towards the end of this race. But just looking at the front now, Anton Nutt's in cruise control here. He is running slightly low on ERS, and Jonas has got just over half of his. So as Brondy's also slowly falling out the DRS range now, so it looks like we could have a three-way fight here, George, especially with Brondy now running on literally 0 ERS as he heads into turn number 1.
Yeah, could it be that we'll see this a famed scrap between Antoine and Keaton Lutt for the certainly for the championship? Obviously, there's still points in the offing here. Antoine will not forfeit the lead of the championship should he DNF out of this race. He still has a buffer, a good buffer currently to his points. Of course, 39 is what separates him and Viper in the standings. And currently occupying P1, of course, Antoine. But in behind, just look at this. The deltas are so close, though, from P4 onwards. 0.6 of a second is all that separates Perondi and Clone Troop. Still plenty of drivers in the offing here. It only takes one mistake for your race to be potentially inhibited at Monza. Naturally, because it's so quick, the cars travel around it so quick as well. One mistake, and that's all it takes. You can very easily get overtaken, and it's very much the case here, certainly here at Italy. And of course, I think Sparks will be living proof of that already at the tail end of the field after slipping off the circuit. And it just goes to show how car control is vital, and a steady hand behind the wheel is so necessary as they now round the Parabolica once again. Antoine still on top, Jonas in P2 as well. Red Bull as Antoine now boxes. That's crucial. That could be crucial here at this story in the race now, as we're now seeing Antoine bail into the pit lane. So he's the first to jump in the scheduled runner list, as now Peronde comes in as well. So does Clone Troop. The medium tyres being fitted to the car. 11 laps of 27. These will surely go to the end as they now come out now. In behind, you've got plenty of drivers in the pit. Well, I say plenty, 2 others, Peronde and Clone Troop, both utilising the same strategy, on the soft, onto the mediums. And we'll have to wait and see how they pay off. But naturally now, Antoine's got to push, needs to try and make that undercut work.
Yeah, he got slightly held as well from Clone Troop and Perondi in the pit lane there. So Jonas will look to try and make this overcut work here. But just let's have a look at the gap between Antoine and the lead hard. It's about 13 seconds between Days Rhombus and Antoine. Obviously, Days Rhombus going to the end on those hard tyres. And we'll see what Antoine can do and make some inroads into the gaps on the Mercedes, who's also picked up a time penalty on this lap. Let's look at Jonas's times as he comes round the Ascara chicane and down towards the Parabolica. I'd imagine we'll see both the Red Bull and the Haas pit this lap, and let's see if they can make that overcut work after Antoine was held for a good second and a half there in the pit lane, George.
Yeah, well, Keaton Lutt staying out. Keaton Lutt staying out. He reckons he can go another lap on those tyres. That's intriguing. Jonas comes in. Dominic now moves up into P2. Joker into P3. Interesting developments here at Monza, folks. Keaton Lutt taking the long way round, looking to obviously have younger tyres on his second stint. Now, remember, if he boxes and manages to masterclass his way to a P1, based on this, or what he presumes to be an overcut that will work here at Monza, this will surely give him an advantage towards the tail end. 2 lap younger medium tyres he will have. That will be the strategy as he makes his way around the chicane at Rogier. This could be a very crucial evident to happen in this Grand Prix. Looking further down, Antoine, he's come out ahead of Jonas, so he is sitting pretty currently in P13. But bear in mind, he still has traffic. Remember, there's hard runners at this, certainly in this race, that are looking to go to the end, looking to utilise the rest of those softs to maybe try and skip over the lot of them. Let's see how this pays off. Looking further down, no battles currently in the offing, but interesting how Keaton Lutt opted to stay out 1 additional lap. That is intriguing, Luke.
Yeah, and Jonas picks up a time penalty. That's going to be crucial for the Red Bull drivers. And there was a yellow flag on in the first corner. I think it was Bobbitt, because he slowed down quite substantially through the Curva Grande, letting 3 or 4 drivers through there. So looked like there was contact there somewhere. And has Jonas picked up another penalty? Is that just picked up on my screen again?
It has indeed.
No, I think that was a time. Yeah, it must have been, because it's gone now. And now we're seeing some more into the pits, and that is Keelan Lutz. So we'll see where he comes out amidst the Antoine and Jonas battle.
Well, he's now come in. Well, Antoine's just coming past the start-finish straight, so he will technically be, though I say net leader, he will be in behind Luca, of course, who's currently making his way through the field, passing Flying Rossi, but that's your leader. Currently no change in amongst this grid order, of course. Antoine, Jonas, Keelan Lutz, those are your drivers who are currently considered, I would say, net leaders. But don't forget, those who pitted onto the hards, they have already made one stop as they now round the Curva Grande. In behind, you can see there, Jonas and Keelan Lutz so close to each other. Now, Keelan knows that he needs to dispatch Jonas sooner rather than later, so he can actually gather himself, try and attack Antoine. And we've lost Sparks. We've lost Sparks, Luke.
Yeah, and it's a safety car, so this is gonna really play into the hands of those medium runners that have stayed out. And this is what I meant, George, at the start. This is what was going to spice up this grid. And so I'll imagine we'll see the likes of Dominic and Mulder in, that will come into the pits for a set of the soft tyres. Whether they can eke those out to the end is going to be crucial, but for the likes of Antoine and Jonas, this is an absolute nightmare. Just to confirm, Jonas did pick up another penalty. He picked up 5 warnings on lap 12, George. That is incredible, especially around here. That
is intriguing. I've got to say, you have to wonder whether those on the hards might pit as well, because they can get faster fresh tyres, and Viper does. I did expect it, and they're all boxing now, including the Alfa Romeos. They are deciding to stack. They're both coming in. So is the Alfa Tauri. That's Viper, of course. More of them coming in. Dominic is in as well. Jonas is in. Well, Jonas has come past. Antoine and Jonas. Of course, this is not working out to their advantage. Keelan Lutz as well. He is part of it, but he does have reasonably fresh tyres. But looking behind now on the exit, Clone Troop trying to gain a position off Mulder. He can't do it now, but remember, he will have 2 laps supplied. He's got a penalty as well. But Joker in behind and Viper, all of a sudden, all those drivers become exceptionally dangerous at this portion of the race.
Yeah, well, it's a shame for Clone Troop. He was looking very strong in this race, picking up a drive-through for speeding up under the safety car, obviously trying to jump ahead of some of those drivers in the pit lane. But yeah, that's very unfortunate. But in his first race in WOR, it's Bartek Frass that leads the way for Ferrari. An incredible story here, George. And then you've got the likes of Days Robinson. And imagine we'll see Bobbitt's in the pit lane at the end of this lap, especially because of the fact he's not stopped yet. And with his teammate pitting, it makes sense for him to jump in at the end of this lap, which means that we'll see Antoine and Jonas jump up a position into 4th, 5th and 6th, with only the hard runners left to overtake.
And just think as well, those on the hard tyres that have had them for those 10 laps, remember, this is perfect for them because they can conserve those tyres. So there's an abundance of strategies here that we've got at this circuit here at Monza. And either one of them, either or, could turn out to be a race victory, a podium. It could mean everything for a lot of these guys. Already now we're seeing more cars back into the pit lane. Bobbitt's has boxed once again. So he's looking to get rid of those medium tyres. He might look for a softer option as he now comes in. May have timed it a little bit wrong, though, because he's going to be going from the back. Clone Troops coming in as well as VRT Danny. And what that means, of course, is that they'll be at the back of the grid, but on fresher, soft compound tyres. Now, they can surely get those to the end. Keelan Lutz did 12 laps on his before boxing on to the mediums. So naturally now, the state of affairs we have is Bartek Frass leading the way. Clone Troopers retired. I'm not sure why, but that means that both racing points are out of the race. They're not scoring any points here today, Luke.
Yeah, I think that was pure frustration for himself for picking up that drive-through penalty. Now we're going to see what the pace of the likes of Dom, the likes of Mulder, the likes of Joke and Viper on those fresher soft tyres. Can they take it to the likes of Antoine, Jonas and Keelan Lutz on those medium tyres? Jonas is the safety car's quite poor time for him, especially picking up those 6 seconds. So he's going to shoot down the field if it remains close towards the latter stage of this race. But I'd anticipate, George, that the safety car will come in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, it certainly, I'd imagine it would do. We will find out sooner rather than later as they come out of Ascari. And as we can now watch Bartek Fras make his way through that chicane. Safety car confirmation. It is in this lap. Race control have confirmed. And that means now that they will back off slightly, allow the safety car to head towards the pit lane. And as you can see, once again, aggressively warming up the tyres. And we'll be pedal to the metal and go, 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 go for the third time in this race. And Bartek Fras is leading the contingent down the stretch before the Parabolica once again. We've been here before, folks. Of course, last time, lots of action-packed. Keenan Look be hoping to get an improved getaway on what he had last time. He'll need it as well, because look who's in front of him. Jonas and Antoine, as Bartek Fras now gets them underway, leaving no stone unturned. In behind as well, though, Antoine on fresher mediums has Flying Rossi dead ahead. This is a great chance here for the Frenchman to try and gather an opportunity, and he's got the overtake mode on, but he's not making any ground. This could be a huge waste of energy, and I have to say, as they make their way into the first chicane, a lock-up from the McLaren, but he holds firm into that P3 spot. They come round the Curva Grande. Still at this moment in time, Bartek Fras leading the charge. Half a second the delta. Flying Rossi all over the back of Dazed Rhombus. They're now wheel to wheel, heading around this auspicious bend, down towards the Rogier chicane. And no, he shuts the door. No chance for Rossi to get by. Rhombus holds his own. They come on the outside. A mistake, though, by the Mercedes as they head round the Lesmo.
Yeah, the Rebels got so much more grip, George. Antoine actually pushing Rossi around through the first Lesmo, and imagine now we'll try and get a good exit at the second Lesmo and possibly try and make a move into Sky. Switches his overtake mode off and pulling out of the switch there, trying to cool the engine and look to get a better run out of Ascari here. Look at the amount of grip that he's got through the Ascari chicane, and I'm sure he'll try and make a move. Oh, he makes a slight error there.
Oh, Keenan alert! Keenan Lutt, sorry to interrupt, Luke. Keenan Lutt now going wheel to wheel with Jonas now, and this could be crucial in the context of the race because the buffer the Red Bull once had, this could mean everything in this Grand Prix as they now come on the outside of Parabolica. Jonas still in P5, but for how long? Here comes the house of Keenan Lutt. Wheel to wheel action, but look at this. Antoine going for the move on Flying Rossi. Keenan Lutt now manages to dispatch with ease. Jonas down into P7. Dominic goes through as well. The Renault goes for a double overtake, heading into the first chicane. Can he do it? Exceptional boldness, absolutely epic. In comes the Renault. Dominic has done it. He's done it round the Curva Grande. That was a Grande move to say the least. As we now watch Flying Mulder now in behind Jonas. They come down towards the next chicane. Nothing separates these guys. Pandemonium here at Monza. The Italians go wild. The Tifosi will be loving this.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic move from Dominic. I didn't quite see it on my screen. I was looking at the battle between Rossi and Antoine. Rossi tried to stick it around the outside, but Red Bull had so much more grip. And the important thing for Antoine here is he's got a gap between, he's got a car between himself and Dominic, so he needs to try and pick these guys ahead of him on the harder tyres off ASAP. Otherwise, Dominic will be putting loads amount of pressure on him for the remaining few laps, George.
Yeah, and Jonas is having a nightmare. He's now trailblazed down a couple more places. Mulder is now overtaking him, heading out of the Ascari chicane, and Viper now is stalking his prey because look who's ahead of him. Joker and Perondi are now going wheel to wheel as well. Nothing separates any of these guys right now, and Perondi is also having a look on Jonas as they come down the stretch now towards Rettifilio, and this is insult to injury, he says. 3 wide now. It's in and out, my word. Oh my word, and that's a DNF for all 3 cars. My word, that is absolutely horrendous. I think Perondi stayed in. We've lost Jonas. An absolutely crunching blow down the stretch. Unbelievable scenes here at World Online Racing here for the Xbox Tier 1 F1 race. Heading down towards the Rettifilio. A 3-car crash heading down the stretch. Jonas out of the race. Red Bull dreams of being a lockout at the top end have now been dashed, Luke.
Such a shame for Jonas. Absolute heartbreak for him. Further up the field, Antoine just managed to get the overtake on Dazed Rhombus before the safety car was brought out. The same for Dominic as well. So Antoine's still got that buffer between himself and Dominic, which will be crucial, especially on the restart. Those soft tyres as well, they'll definitely get to the end now, and they'll have some decent grip with them as well. So yeah, I think as well for the hard runners as well, Bartek, a safety car's decent for him. It takes 2 or 3 laps out of this race that Antoine can't use to overtake him, and I'd imagine he'll try and fight this as well now, especially with only probably going to have about 6 laps of racing after this safety car, George. Let's see who peels off into the pit lane as well, as the likes of Alfie come round at the final corner. Joker's in the McLaren, so is Alfie. Prondy stays out. I don't know if he picked up any damage. Lucas stays out, and they've got the likes of Danny and Bobbitt, who's coming round the Sky chicane. I'll be unsurprised to see him pit as well, George.
No, I have to firmly agree with you. We'll have to wait and see as they make their way around the Curva Grande, and absolutely unreal scenes here at Monza. And we said this from the very beginning, that this was going to be a huge race full of fireworks, and it's been just that. We've had 4 cars DNF from the Italian Grand Prix here today, folks. So I hope you've all enjoyed yourself in the live chat. It's been a pleasure to have you all with us. It never ceases to amaze us, certainly, when it comes to racing, certainly at sim level. And certainly, no matter where you are, the action never stops. Certainly here at WOR. And as the saying goes, we're only here to make you go, as wisely said by the Chemical Brothers. I have to say, it's absolutely exceptional. Bartek Fras, though, having the race of his life right now. P1 on the hard tyres, could potentially get those to the end, even though he will have a headache, though, because Antoine on the slicker compound, medium tyres, only having 7 laps upon them, not to mention 2 safety cars as well. That's going to conserve them even more. Days Rhombus still in the mix, though. He's in P3, but he has got a penalty. But look out for Dominic. He could be the one to upset the cards here. 4 laps applied to those softs. Bear in mind, plenty under the safety car. So this is our 3rd safety car in this race. We won't have any more after this one, folks. At least we hope not, to say the least. But nevertheless, it has been a thrilling race here at Monza. And it's certainly a legendary race to go alongside a legendary circuit. Just keep your eyes on this one. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Antoine currently on the cusp of picking up his 4th win this season. Should he dispatch that of Bartek Fras, you'd firmly expect him to do so on the faster tyre, but anything can happen, certainly here in sim racing. And I have to say, Bartek Fras is sheer tenacity. I tell you what, the Tifosi be cheering. He's impressing me today.
Yeah, he is. He's been very, very impressive, and he should get those hard compound tyres to the end now. But yeah, I'd imagine Antoine will be putting an immense amount of pressure on him. But fair play to the likes of Days Rhombus and Shazoo Dominic. Obviously, Days Rhombus with the penalty, but the likes of Dominic, whose previous best result in WR was P7, it looks set to pick up a podium, which will be his first Tier 1 podium in WR, the second maiden podium sitter that we've had this season. So yeah, I think he's going to be one to look out for on the restart as well. Obviously be able to warm those tyres up a lot easier than the likes of Days Rhombus and Bartek Fras around him. So I think he's the one to watch at the restart, George.
Yeah, he certainly will be. Keaton Lutz as well down in P6, 6-lap-old mediums, though albeit Viper has managed to bring himself right back into this. 5-lap-old softs and served under the safety car as well. And you've got to keep an eye on that AlphaTauri, because he is not short of pace and certainly is a very wily character. Safety car is in this lap, folks. And so we'll be back underway very shortly. And you'd imagine that Antoine, all he'll be thinking about is trying to get himself past that Ferrari and check out ASAP. He will not want to be stuck behind Bartek Fras for much longer. In behind him, he's got Days Rhombus as well, who's got an almighty duel on his hands with Shazoo Dominic, who's on soft tyres. You'd firmly expect that Renault to be right in the centre, or at least the thick of it right now. In behind Flying Rossi, he's going to be under pressure with Keaton Lutz, who is currently waiting patiently in behind the McLaren. And that Haas, who has been absolutely spectacular this season, as now we get underway, it's going to be pedal to the metal for the 4th time in this Grand Prix. As they get underway, it is go, 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 go. And as they do so, just look at this, Antoine, who once again in the mix. We got wheel-to-wheel action already from the get-go. Here we go with Days Rhombus and Dominic, as we quite rightly predicted on those soft tyres. In comes the slipstream tug in from Flying Rossi now, tries to slip his way through as they make their way through the Rettifilio, and Keaton Lutz, majestic manoeuvre down the inside. They're heading through Rettifilio as they make their way through the Curva Grande. Will it be a Grande move once again, this time for Keaton Lutz? Days Rhombus shuts the door, but a late break surely, heading into the Roger chicane. No, he can't. The Mercedes certainly does turn him away. Absolutely superlative stuff here at the getaway. Amazing start here in lap 21.
Yeah, Antoine getting the move on Bartek Fraser, and I imagine he'll go off into the distance now as well. Dominic getting past Days Rhombus now. It's critical that Dominic gets past Bartek Fraser as soon as possible so he can try and put some pressure on Antoine. But yeah, fantastic move from Keelan Lutt. And he's now P4. He's got past Days Rhombus, and now he'll need to try and catch his championship rival Antoine as soon as possible. Otherwise, it looks like it's going to be Antoine's fourth win.
Here comes Dominic. Bartek Fraser, the new boy. The Ferrari is now relegated to P3. Keelan Lutt's a man on a mission as well. Look out for the Haas. He's on fire. In behind Mulder as well on the softs. He's got so much drag out of the Parabolica. He got pulled along by Flying Rossi and is now trying to go wheel to wheel with the McLaren. Certainly, all eyes on this as they come down towards turn one. Shutting the door goes the McLaren car. The lock up there, being pushed along through the chicane. Nothing the Alpha can do about that as they now round turn one, heading round the Curva Grande. Antoine now leads this Grand Prix with a 1.2 second advantage. Dominic behind there, chasing him down or trying to at least. Fiat Alfie goes ahead of Bobbitt's as well. The AlphaTauri down to P12. It's Mulder down the inside now, heading through the chicane of Rogier and gets it done this time. Dispatches, or at least holds off from Viper, who is looking to have some incredible speed as they come round the next right-hander. Rondi is also looking at him. Incredible stuff here.
Yeah, Dominic's not managed to close in. If anything, Antoine's looking quicker at the moment of the two front runners. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Keelan make a move down into either Parabolica or into turn one here. And unfortunately for the Tifosi, it looks like Ferrari will not be on the podium at this rate. Oh, as Keelan picks up a penalty. Commentator's curse there, George. As Keelan picks up a time penalty, and that's going to affect his race massively, and we could see a Ferrari on the podium here at Monza.
Yeah, and you can imagine that Bartek Fraser, all he'll be worried about is literally making himself a nuisance, holding on to that P3 spot. Antoine sets the fastest lap of the race on medium tyres. Bear in mind, we got fresher softs on the table here, and already Keelan Lutt is really under pressure now. He's in P4. Look at this. He's got Days Rhombus all over his rear still. He hasn't broken away from the Mercedes just yet, but Antoine landing a crucial blow here and goes another 2/10, 3/10 quicker than Dominic now in the last lap, so he's got lots of pace here, the Red Bull. He is absolutely flying. Now heading out of Curva Grande again, Keelan Lutt trying to close down on the Ferrari. These two are going to be dueling it out now towards the end of this race. P3 on the table. All Bartek Fraser though has to do is keep hold of the car, keep the deficit to a minimal, and try and stop that Haas from getting too far away. Ideally, keep it behind him if you can. Try and make him use those tyres.
Yes, of course. And I tell you what, Viper's looking at an outside shot of a podium here. I said at the start of this race, if anyone that could get a podium, it is him.
Keelan down the inside.
Yeah, go on, George.
Devastating through Ascari. Keelan Lutt snatches P3 now. And now he's only got one thing he has to do. He needs to break the Delta gap. Of course, that means that, obviously, he does need to try and besmirch that penalty, but it's not going to happen right now. He's only got 4 laps to do it in, Luke. It's going to be really, really pressurised now. It's going to be really tough for him, isn't it?
Yeah, especially around here, the slipstream is going to be, it's going to be a massive advantage to Bartek Fraser and the DRS. Before that, I was going to say Viper's got a decent shot of the podium here. If you could dispatch of these 3 hard runners now ahead of him, first being Rossi, who he's very close mates with, so it wouldn't be surprised if we see Viper, if he can get his nose up the inside, that Rossi won't make it easy for him. As speaking of which, Viper's going to look to the inside of the second chicane, and this is going to be a quite easy move for the AlphaTauri, and he moves up to P6, but it's P4 at the moment because of the 2 penalties ahead of him, George.
It certainly is, but look at this now. You can see that Viper cruising up already to the rear end of Days Rhombus. The pressure is real now, certainly for the Mercedes. The AlphaTauri looks menacing, and as I said earlier on, they like Monza. Pierre Gasly, of course, winning the race last year, and as they cruise their way through the Ascari chicane, Viper now looking to do the business for the AlphaTauri team. This is also their home race as well, remember they're Italians as well, as he now cascade through that chicane, down the stretch towards the Parabolica. Nothing separates them now as they round that corner. The very progressive Parabolica bend, but the Days Rhombus car as well. The Mercedes trying to hold on.
George, look to the lead.
Oh, we got
look to lead, George. Dominic's going for the lead. He's managed to get into the DRS of Antoine and takes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix.
That is absolutely massive. Dominic, incredible on the soft tyres. He's managed to garner the pace. There must have been a mistake of sorts because Antoine was crucially ahead by 1.2 seconds. He looked gone. He looked sold. He was away. But Antoine now in behind, getting the grip out of Curva Grande. Can they come through now into the Rogier and tag back on the Renault? Not this time. Dominic needs to check out now with 2 laps left to go, folks. I'm absolutely speechless. You wouldn't think so, but I am. Dominic in P1 leading the charge. The Renault's on top. Can he get his first win of the season?
That's the big question, George. Keelan's now got out of the DRS range of Bartik Fras, and looking at this rate, I think he might be able to get ahead of the 3 seconds of Bartik Fras. And look at Viper, he's now down the inside of Ascari, so now he's got a chance of nicking the podium position off Keelan Lutt. He's got 2.5 seconds behind him.
Here comes Antoine. Here comes Antoine down the inside of Parabolica. He's getting so close. Sorry to interrupt you again, Luke. This race is frantic. Losing shape, both the cars, as Dominic with a little bit of a twitch on the front wing. It just did not work for him just there, but now another chance for Antoine Desalewski as they come down the stretch, leading towards turn 1. And Rogier, the Rettifilio, wheel to wheel again. Still, once again, a lock up there for the Renault and Dominic in jeopardy here. Here comes the Red Bull. Renault and Red Bull known to have a very, very, very tiny relationship in the past. This is it. Around the Curva Grande. Will it be a Grande move here for the race victory here today with 2 laps to go? Antoine tries to scoop up in front, but he has no access route. Dominic did expertly well to shut the door. This is going to be a battle, certainly all the way to the end here.
These two have history as well. If you remember back to Australia, Dominic tried to do the no stop, and he must have held up Antoine for a good 10 to 15 laps on the older tyres, and Antoine obviously won that race. And as Antoine is looking to go around the outside of the sky, it's going to be a brave move. Dominic shuts the door and Antoine has to sit behind, and now he'll look to get the switch back and look to try and make a move down into the final corner. He's going to sit behind though, I think, and get the DRS for the main straight as we head to the final lap, George.
Yeah, this straight is going to be absolutely crucial. Around in the Parabolica now, it's going to be Antoine who's going to have the DRS. And I tell you what, huge mission. I wouldn't want to be any of these guys right now. This is going to be a very, very hard tussle to the finish. This is a battle of the Titans. Certainly Dominic and Antoine now as they come down towards the chicane once again. The Frenchman, there's no stopping him. Antoine round the outside, heading into the first chicane at Rettifilio. And he gets it done. The Red Bull strikes. It gives him wings. He lets fly. He's up in a P1. Dominic in P2 now. Round in the Curva Grande for the final time. This time, the Renault in P2 as they come down towards the Rogier chicane. Still, they're in tandem. Nothing separates them. The gap is thinner than a fly's eyelash. In behind Keelan Lutt coming back into the race. He's within 0.8 of a second. Absolutely incredible as they come down towards the second Lesmo once again. Still, it's Antoine on top. Dominic in P2. Keelan Lutt in P3. Absolutely exceptional racing here. I cannot believe this has got to be race of the season, Luke.
Absolutely. Let's see what Dominic can do into Ascari. Too far behind. Antoine didn't get a great line there through the first part of Ascari. Dominic cuts the final part, and Dominic's going to get a great slipstream now down into the final corner. He's going to look to go round the outside of the final corner as we enter the final corner of the final lap. Can he go around the outside? Antoine defends the inside, parks it on the inside, and it looks like CRG Antoine is going to win the Italian Grand Prix and his 4th race of the season.
Absolutely exceptional. Antoine Desalewski, CRG Antoine, is your winner of the Italian Grand Prix. And what a way to do it. A 3-way fight to the end. So Shazoo Dominic's driver in the car celebrating. He has every right to. What an extraordinary end to that Grand Prix. We have not seen a race quite like it. And as I tipped before the start of the race, Viper driver of the day. Exceptional stuff indeed. But it was all about Antoine, and credit to Keelan Lutt as well for dragging himself up to the pack, but I think that penalty is going to upset his chances on getting a podium here today. Incredible stuff here, folks. I cannot believe what we've witnessed. Honestly, as we have a look at the grid, I think Keelan Lutt might have actually held on here as they now accept the awards. I have to say, I'm speechless. I cannot believe what we've just seen. It's going to be, without question, the Red Bull on fire today. Antoine takes victory. He wins here at Monza. An incredible fight. It's going to go down in the history of WOR, of one of the greatest battles we've seen of all time, with Dominic taking P2. P3 as well goes to that man as well, Keedan Lurt, I'm sure, without a doubt, and it certainly was. Antoine takes victory. Exceptional. But Dominic takes fastest lap as well. An exceptional race. P2 goes to Dominic. Keedan Lurt in P3. That rounds out your top three, folks. Viper, what a drive. Definitely my driver of the day. P16 to P4. Bartek Fras also in P5. A great drive from the newcomer as well. And the Ferrari team would be delighted with that, especially considering he finished on the hard tyres. VRT Danny in P6. Flying Rossi in P7. Days Rhombus P8. Mulder P9. Alfie in P10. Perondi P11. Bobbitt's in P12. Joker in P13. Luca P14. Jonas, unfortunately, at DNF. So was Luca, in fact. We also lost Clone Troop and Spucks and Crescito. And that rounds off your runners. Incredible scenes, folks. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Honestly, you have not seen a better race than that. I don't think we've seen a race quite like that on Xbox before, Luke. Just sum that up for me. I cannot believe what we've seen tonight.
It was a classic race, and I'm sure Miles will be feeling quite jealous that he couldn't make tonight. And I'm glad to have commentated with you. It's a fantastic race. It's up there with some of the classics that we've had in recent years, definitely. Dominic came out of absolutely nowhere and surprised all of us, including yourself. And it was a fantastic race. Action throughout the field and numerous strategies, etc. Definitely one of the classics.
Well, folks, I want to hear your drivers of the day as well. I mean, there were plenty out there. It was exceptional. I mean, I know we had our incidents, but at the same time, there were some Cinderella stories. I mean, to be absolutely honest, I would never have pictured Shazoo Dominic to be up there, but because of the safety cars, it allowed us to have these really eye-catching moments, and we got to the end, and it just seemed to me that the Renault had an extra gear. If anything, the race was in his hands. I mean, I could not believe he closed the gap as quickly as he did. He wiped off that 1.5 second deficit between him and Antoine in a matter of moments. That safety car getaway, Antoine looked to have it all sewn up laps before the end, but we got to the back end of the race, and all of a sudden, Shazoo Dominic, with an exceptional performance here at Monza, manages to drag his car up onto the top spot, and tries to lay waste to that of Antoine, who has been bossing this league all season. Incredible 3 victories. He's made that 4 now here today, and I cannot believe what we've seen, folks. Antoine, quite rightly, obviously, give the man credit. Medium tyres he was on. It takes a lot of guts in order to try and hold on to something like that. And I'm pleased to say, folks, he's going to come and join us for an interview. I hope we get Dominic as well, because I really want to talk to these guys about this race here today. Absolutely exceptional. Antoine, you must be absolutely sweating there, mate. What a phenomenal race.
Yeah, I'm sweaty. It's been a while since I didn't talk to you. Yeah, I'm quite sweaty, to be honest. I was closing my stream, so sorry for the delay. I wasn't pretty confident in front of Dominic because he knew that he had a new source. So, as I said, I wasn't pretty much happy about the thing that he's done on the penultimate lap about braking before the DRS zone. It was unfair. It could have cost me my front wing if I didn't move, so it was quite dangerous from his side. But we were pretty low on ERS each other, so I said to myself, I'm gonna go on the last lap, and my straight line speed wasn't that good because of the ride out. I was quite low on the ride out, so it didn't help. But yeah, I'm sweaty, but I'm happy that it's finished and in the good way for me.
Yeah, well, I got to say, it was a crazy race. I don't think we've seen anything like that in a long time, if anything, in WOR, or certainly 3 safety cars. Absolutely incredible. I mean, it just goes to show the superior dedication that all you guys have, certainly when it comes to racing. But, you can plan as anything you like, but a race like that, 3 safety cars, that just sends your strategy right out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, as you said, the strategy is so important when as you said, 3 safety car pop up during the race. So it was quite obvious to not jump on hard towards lap 2 because I watched PSGL on PC when I was engineering Joe and Jake for the race, and I saw that some guys had a puncture in a hard at the end. So I was pretty confident that I would be able to pick up the pace on soft to get the minimum gap on mediums because the medium is clearly 1 second faster compared to hold hard. So yeah, but the second and the third safety car, I managed to do some overtake before they pop up once again, and that was pretty crucial. And then Dominic did a great job by jumping those cars as well, and we had a great battle. So yeah, as I said on my stream, I wasn't pretty. How can I say that? I wasn't aware about his tire wear, but I think the third safety car helped him to have better tire wear, so that's why he was quick towards the end of the race. So. And we did a great battle, so that was fun. That was a fun race. Pretty sweaty, as you said, and yeah, I'm happy to be back for the win.
Yeah, well, obviously, this is only going to improve your championship chances. And certainly for Red Bull, it was obviously a shame that your teammate Jonas DNF'd earlier on in the race. Obviously left you one-legged, but it does mean you're collecting 25 points to the offing and sets your points tally to 165 as a team. You yourself now, you're up at 132 points. So you're going very, very strong with quite a gap between you and Viper. Viper, though, managing to gather some points of his own, finishing an incredible P4 after starting from the back of the grid, or near enough the back of the grid. But just looking at your chances now, you must feel very confident, certainly as a team, because you're near enough, I would say, almost double the points tally of P2 in the constructor standings. Do you feel that the championship is going your way? Do you feel confident you can ride this out to the end of the season?
I won't say pretty much, but it's quite an important gap now. As I knew that Ronald wasn't racing, and I said to myself, like, this is the race. I need to get some points. I need to gain some points to him and to Keaton. Keaton finished P3 tonight, so yeah, 10 points gain on Keaton as well. And Viper, I don't know where Viper finished, but I gained some points on everybody on the championship or for my championship rival or something. So yeah, and for the 4 races remaining, that's some tracks that I like to race on. So I won't say that I'm quite confident, but I'm feeling good for the end of the championship. So yeah, and I had an unlucky race around Silverstone because my game crashed and my air just spun in turn 1. So I had up and down in this championship, so I'm quite looking forward to win again and bring some more points for Red Bull. So does Jonas, and yeah, let's try to win this championship as quick as possible.
Yeah, I mean, final question. I mean, it seems to me that today was really important because certainly you've had a tough couple of races. Obviously, you picked up 12 points last time, which was great, a P4. But I know you like to be in the podiums. And looking back, obviously, like you said, didn't have a great race at Britain. How crucial was it to take victory here today? Because it looked like Keaton Lutt was carrying certainly a lot of momentum heading into Monza today because, of course, he's picked up some very serious points, including 2 wins in his last 3 races. So how important was tonight's result in the context of the championship for you?
It was important to regain some confidence because Keaton, as you know, is the Challenger Series winner on Xbox. So he's one of the quickest drivers on this platform. So does Ronha, who's quite quick at this moment in terms of in Belgium. He was so quick. I didn't manage to catch him. So Ronha and Keaton are in a great shape at the moment. So yeah, it was important for me to regain some confidence coming to Pro Exhibition and to the end of WOR and other championships. So yeah, I'm really happy with tonight.
Yeah, well, I got to say, congratulations on a truly outstanding performance, and credit to yourself. And we'll wish you all the very best. And we'll move on now to next week. It's Suzuka next week, and congratulations, though. Great P1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antoine. Thank you. Well, Luke, I don't think we're going to have any more interviews, but I have to say, if people don't subscribe to WOR for races like that, then I don't know what you will subscribe for.
I'd agree with that, George. It's a fantastic race, definitely the race of the season, and it was. It had it all. Had it all. We had safety cars. We had there was so many different leaders as well, and obviously the last lap battle between Dominic and Antoine there. Dominic's so close to his first ever WR victory, obviously the Tier 2 champion from last season. So he has a bit of pressure coming into this season. Obviously, can he do it in the top tier? But there, you've just seen the quality of the driver behind the wheel.
Oh, it's astounding. And I got to say, I want to ask you, because I'm not sure if I asked you this. Driver of the day for you, who was your man?
I think I would go with I think I would go with Antoine, because I think there was so many different elements that were thrown into him that race. There was obviously the first safety car. He had to get past those hard runners quickly and safely, and then once he got that done, it was just protecting himself from the likes of Dominic and Keelan, who closed in at vast rates of knots at the end. So yeah, I would give it to Antoine, but I think Dominic you can make a worthy case for as well.
Absolutely. Well, I've got to say, I do agree with you there. I'm going to stick with Viper, though. I have to say, it was a titanic gain, I think, from where he started on the grid and getting a P4, despite all the adversary things put in place, certainly with the safety cars. It was a challenge for every driver out there on the track today at Monza. Not the easiest of circuits. It may look easy, but it's not, I can assure you, certainly under those intense conditions. But I got to say, folks, it has been absolutely thrilling, and I got to say, a pleasure to bring you the action here tonight. I hope you've all enjoyed it at home as well, because I've certainly enjoyed bringing it to you every Monday night. And Monday Night War, like, again, it is a war. Tonight was absolutely exceptional, and I hope we're going to get the same response for the PS4 night on Friday. Of course, we return to Monza on Friday for Tier 1 PlayStation 4 action. Will we have the same again? Who knows? I have to say, folks, you'll have to tune in to find out, but please leave a subscribe and a like to this broadcast if you haven't done so already. And also, you can check out WOR on Twitter by checking out at WOR League. You can also find me on Twitter as well, folks, at George Morgan TV. Please stop by. You can feel free to ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to take your messages. And also, Luke, tell them what your Twitter handle is.
It'll be CRG_Humperdinck. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter there.
Yeah, so feel free to get in touch as well. And if you're any new drivers who want to try your hand at WOR, please make sure you make your way over to their Twitter page. Maybe join their Discord as well. There's plenty of links there that can grab your attention. But more importantly is that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to all the action that happens here on the WOR YouTube channel. But from me, folks, and Luke, I tell you what a race we witnessed here today. But it was Antoine. It's his day today. We'll see you next time. Bye.